Hey there, I'm Patricia George, and today I'll be presenting my study titled Investigating Grammar Instruction in the ESL Classroom, a dual perspective analysis of teachers and students. Grammar instruction plays a central role in ESL learning. It supports students in developing accurate and effective communication. However, one of the biggest challenges in teaching grammar is finding the right balance between the accuracy and fluency, which means getting the rules right and being able to speak naturally and spontaneously. Research shows that while students often prefer grammar to be taught through contextual and communicative methods, many teachers still rely on traditional rule based approaches. Recent studies suggest that a hybrid method combining form focused instruction with meaningful communication along with integrated feedback is more effective. Despite this, there's a noticeable gap in the literature. Most studies tend to focus on either the teacher's or the student's perspective, but rarely both within the same classroom setting. This leads to the problem a persistent mismatch between how teachers deliver grammar instruction and what students find useful or engaging. There's also ongoing tension between the goals of accuracy and fluency and a lack of research exploring how both groups experience grammar teaching together. So, the objectives of this study are threefold. First, to explore how ESL teachers and students perceive the grammar role of grammar in learning. Second, to identify the teaching strategies being used and understand how students evaluate their effectiveness. And third, to investigate the challenges both teachers and students face when it comes to grammar instruction. The research is guided by three questions. One, how do ESL teachers and students view grammar's role? Second, what strategies do teachers use and how do students respond to them? Third, what challenges do both groups encounter in grammar instruction? This study is significant because it has the potential to improve grammar instruction from multiple angles, such as the learners, the teachers, and the policymakers. This literature review highlights grammar's essential role in second language learning, especially in structured communication. Teachers are often favor explicit grammar instruction, while students appreciate it mainly for exams, but they respond better to interactive, meaningful tasks. A common challenge is balancing fluency with accuracy, and the best approach seems to be integrating grammar within real communication. However, many studies only focus on one perspective, teacher or student, and often ignore real classroom conditions. That's why this study aims to explore both views within the same ESL setting to better understand how grammar instruction can be made more effective and engaging. This conceptual framework highlights how grammar instructional strategies and how both teachers and students perceive them directly affect grammar learning outcomes, student engagement, and overall effectiveness of instruction. These relationships are shaped by three key mediating factors: the method of delivery, student motivation, and how relevant students feel grammar is to their learning. At the same time, four moderating variables can either strengthen or weaken these effects. First, learners' proficiency matters as students at different stages respond differently to grammar instruction. Second, the teacher's experience or qualification influences how well strategies are applied. Third, class size and time constraints may reduce opportunities for practice and meaningful interaction. Lastly, cultural and institutional factors also shape both teaching practices and student expectations. Together, these elements help us Understand why grammar instruction may work well in some contexts but not in others, and this study aims to explore those dynamics in real classrooms. A pilot study was done to check the reliability and clarity of the interview questions. This test was conducted with two ESL teachers and two students. The thematic analysis was done using Atlas TI. Results showed the instrument is largely reliable and relevant. Based on the test, is a few amendment is made. First, adding questions linking to knowledge to exam preparation. Second, adding focus to the difference between teaching grammar in isolation versus integrating it with reading, writing, and speaking tasks. Third, adding reflection type question to encourage metacognitive responses. Lastly, including prompts about digital tools like Kahoot, Padlet, and Grammarly. This study uses three main instruments. First, semi structured interviews with teachers and students will explore their beliefs, strategies, and experiences with grammar instruction. Second, focus group discussions with students will encourage shared reflections on their learning, preferences, and engagement. Finally, classroom observations will capture real time teaching practices and students' responses. All data will be recorded, transcribed, and analyzed to ensure a comprehensive understanding of grammar instruction from multiple angles. Thank you for listening.